I'm Janet Lindberg,
And I'm Carol Johnson.
and we're the Food Shelf Tag Team Duo. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the Food Shelf today. And we're going to start out with some Food Shelf trivia, and I'll let you go. Okay, get the question one more time. What was the year the Food Shelf started? Next one. Here's some hints. Was it the 70s, 80s, or 90s? What do you think? You can go ahead. If you guessed 1986, yeah. So what that tells us is that for 40 years, almost 40 years, 2 years from that, the Pelican Rapids community has supported the Food Shelf. That is really awesome. And we were one of the first ones around. So next one. You can get the question.
So our next question is where was the first food shelf located? And your choices are Dave and Ted's Locker, the VFW, or on Mill Street, the current location.
You're right. That's correct. And the VFW not only gave us space, but they also gave us equipment, some refrigeration and shelving as well, too. Okay, next question. Last one, who initiated the Food Shelf? Your hints are the city, Trinity Lutheran Church, or Women's Civic. Okay. Yeah. Women's Civic. Any people from Women's Civic here? All right. I think Loretta Jensen was the president at the time, so they had the idea. Okay, next slide.
So hunger in Minnesota, part of the reason that it has increased so much is because of food price inflation and the loss of pandemic relief program. There were over 5.5 million visits to food shelves in Minnesota in 2021, and anticipating the next stats that come out, it'll be over 7 million.
Yeah, this year. So, and the next slide shows that hunger in Pelican Rapids, family visits, you'll notice on the bottom, it's for a 5-year period, and you will see the changes in family visits during that 5-year period. So it went from just below 1,000 to over 1,600. The takeaway here, which you'll notice the dip was during the pandemic. So we never closed the doors, and we had a different delivery system though. We would give them boxes outside. And people were afraid to come out. But you'll see that once the food shelf opened again, the numbers rose again. And the takeaway here is really over that 5-year period, pre-pandemic, it's gone up 70%, the number of visits to the food shelf. Okay.
So just a little bit of information about the food shelf, and I guess the hours have always been the same day, Tuesdays from 10 to 1. Somewhere along the line we added, I'm not sure when that was, we added the 4 to 5:30 on the first Tuesday of the month only. We have 3 paid staff and a good core group of volunteers, and then the area churches and different organizations have sent volunteers to help us. The nice part about it is that we have enough people that have worked there so that if Janet has to be gone, or if I have to be gone, or someone else has to be gone, everybody kind of knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. We also have some renters in our building that bring in about $1,300 a month that helps us purchase food and pay for our bills.
Something kind of new in this area too is that we have 2 Spanish-speaking
yes.
employees, and that's been very, very helpful. Okay.
Oh, this one's mine too. Mm-hmm. Missions and goals. Our mission is in the spirit of helping our neighbor. We are fighting hunger and nourishing our community. Our goals, you can see, are to treat people with dignity and to give nourishing food, respect client choices. They don't have to take, everything that we offer. We tell them what's available. We provide outreach to the community. We try to engage as many community members as we can, and the churches have really helped with that. And we provide resources that help our clients meet essential needs. Our values: compassion, kindness, respect, community, integrity, and friendliness.
Okay. Okay, the other thing we do is we prioritize healthy food, and then we have a client choice model. So if you went into the food shelf, you would see the racks categorized by fruits and vegetables, grains, fresh meats, low-fat dairy, and then it's baking supplies and probably canned meals. And then the client choice method means they get a cart, they get to go and pick and choose. They have a personal shopper that goes along with them, and they'll tell them how many choices they can make based on the size of their family.
And through different organizations, and I don't know what FEN stands for anymore, I can't remember.
Foundation for Essential Needs.
And other organizations, we have been able, through grants, to get coolers and freezers and totes to put our fresh produce in. We have 3 carts like this so that people that don't drive can put their groceries in those and take them home, and then they bring the carts back.
And you know, it's estimated that about 27% of people don't have transportation in Pelican Rapids, and so that impacts those folks. Food pantry activities for 2023. There are 361 different families that access the food shelf. The interesting thing is the frequency of those visits. Out of the 361 families, about 73 or about 3/4 of them visit the food shelf 1 to 4 times a year. So it's not like everyone comes for every month. You know, statistics indicate that that's not the case. And about 20% 5 to 8 times a year, and about 8% 9 to 12 times a year. The individuals impacted, about 30% are children, about 60% adults to age 64, and about 12% are seniors. We average about 134 families per week.
Per month.
Oh, no, per month, excuse me. And actually in January it was 161. So, and we provide about 20 pounds of food per person and give out about 7,500 pounds in a month. Okay.
The biggest share of our food comes from North Country Food Bank, which is in East Grand Forks. Mm-hmm. And they come down once a month. I think the statistics or the information is in a later slide. But we also, Janet, I'm lost on this one. Oh, yep. They have the free, we get some foods free and some we purchase. They have a milk program. Produce in the summer, we were able to get large totes of watermelon and cabbage that we just set outside in front and anyone in the community could come and get. The Food RX boxes is a new one that I think we discussed soon here. And then the senior nutrition boxes.
Yeah. What the food prescription boxes are is the clinic's going to start to screen for food insecurity. And if they identify people that are insecure, they will offer a box right from the clinic. Okay, TFAP in Minnesota. This is the free government food. So when the federal government allocates money to fight hunger, it goes through the Farm Bill, and it's a USDA program. How they funnel that through the state is shown in the colored blocks. So the federal money is given to state agencies, and in Minnesota, that's Hunger Solutions. They distribute that to the 7 food banks across Minnesota, who distribute it to the 479 food shelves and meal programs across Minnesota, and they distribute it to households in need. And the only price we pay for the TFAP foods are the delivery price, so it's 8 cents a pound. I wanted to show you, you can go ahead, what some of those foods look like. And they're really healthy foods. They're, you know, rice, we get a lot of frozen berries, we get cranberries, dried cherries, eggs, beans, a lot of really good things. Okay, and the food shelf funds the backpack program, which I don't know how many of you have been involved with that. But Jackie, we're lucky enough to have Jackie Larson and Marie Schwerian organize that. And so, Jackie, do you want to come up and talk a little bit about that? She's got a mic. Gotcha.
Yes, thank you. It's awesome to be part of this great food shelf team. I do just a very little in the big scope of everything that they do with the backpack program. And it wouldn't be as successful as it is without people in our community, just along with everything else in our community and food shelf. Some strong partners that I get to work with personally for the backpack program is Larry's Supermarket. They pack all the items that we need, and so they have a list that I provide them, and I pick it up, and then I drop it off here at the church. And so Trinity Church is a huge partner that I get to work with, that the food shelf gets to work with. Marie, I work with her very closely, and she is kind of the leader of the volunteers here at church. Some of you may come and help with that on Wednesday mornings. And after a bit, I'll show you what's in those bags. I've been with the backpack program probably 7 or 8 years, maybe. I can't even remember. The backpacks go to the elementary and high school, and we do about 90 to 100 a week. About 75% to the elementary school, and the other 25% to the high school. So average, again, about 90 to 100 bags. The kids are determined by the staff and the teachers at church. Ways that they determine are if they're coming to school really hungry, if they're taking other kids' snacks, if they don't bring snacks. Some are just kind of over the years, teachers and staff know who to provide those to. And so those are put in their, excuse me, I'm not used to this public speaking stuff. Bags are brought home on Fridays by the kids. The bags that you see here are put in elementary kids' backpacks, and then for the high school students, they're typically just put in their lockers. So it's done in a very discreet way. So other kids, they may be taken out on the bus if they're riding the bus home to eat, but the idea from the school is to do it as secretively as they can, which is the goal. Let's see what else. So a typical bag has about 10 to 12 different items. Usually put in some pudding. I'll try to make it very kid-friendly foods. Some macaroni and cheese that they can just put in the microwave. Some oatmeal that they can just put in water, again in the microwave, make themselves. Usually some granola bars. Some juice. Usually some cereal. Fruit snacks. Here's another granola bar. Raisins or applesauce or a type of fruit. We have some ramen noodles. Again, that's easy for them to mix up by themselves. And the last thing would be just some crackers. Again, things that kids themselves can eat, easily open, make themselves, be accessible for them. 90 to 100 kids in our school is a lot of kids in our school system. And so, again, being able to provide what we can for them is really fortunate. And again, that's attributed to a lot of people in our community. So much appreciated. A lot of kids that we may see on a daily basis may be affected by food insecurity. So if there's ever an opportunity to help out in that way, it's always very appreciated. If there are any questions, maybe at the end there's an opportunity for that. But again, just fortunate to be a part of this awesome program and hope to continue with it.
Thank you, Jackie. And thanks to all of you, too, who put those bags together. It's really helpful. Go ahead. On the other end of the spectrum, we have NAPS boxes, and it's a federal program, and it's for people over 60 years of age. They get a monthly box, and they have to apply every other year. So you can see some of the foods that they get in that. That's Bonnegarde cheese, 2-pound block. Okay, go ahead. I think I jumped in on yours.
Yep.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay.
Anyway, we also the auspices, or the community garden is under the auspices of the food shelf. And we have 40 plots up there that are 26 by 30. The cost is a food shelf donation. We have 2 plots designated for growing together, where you share the work and share the harvest. And our garden coordinator is Julie Thunheim. I don't know if she's here, but she's absolutely awesome. She knows how to garden, and she knows how to teach people how to garden. She is really great.
It's here.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we appreciate you so much. And there's plenty of opportunity if anyone wants to learn how to garden to join our Growing Together group, for sure. So, okay.
In the summertime, when the local gardeners have produce that is too abundant, they bring it to us and we put it out. And we both kind of chuckled at this image because it was taken quite a few years ago, and now we have 2 tables plus baskets. We have one local gardener who brings probably about 50% of what we put out, and he grows it all in 5-gallon buckets.
And he'll get up in the middle of the night and pick it to
So
bring
we
it in.
and this is available to anyone in the community. It's not just people coming in to the food shelf on that Tuesday. It's out there for everyone to come and take, along with
We encourage
those-
our participants to come weekly to get it.
along with those big totes that we get, that we hope to get more of.
Okay. Another program we have is Fresh Green Bucks. Has anyone ever seen this before? This you can see at Larry's, on the way out, And what you do is you purchase one of those vouchers, and it goes into the account for the food shelf to purchase fresh produce. And they're nice enough we've had it there a few years, I think maybe 3 years. And actually 5 years. You'll see that the amount that we've collected through that program. Okay.
And our holiday baskets that we give out either at Thanksgiving or Christmas time. Last year we gave out 136, and the Rotary added 353 pounds of fresh fruit that we distributed. And Otter Tail Power had Christmas lights left over from after the parade, so they gave them to us, and so everybody went home with a string of Christmas lights also.
Okay. One thing we're required to do is provide clients with resources. So we have to provide them with information about SNAP, health insurance, energy assistance, and voting registration. And we also like to have people in there use our space that can help people. So Someplace Safe has been there for about 3 years and is great for people who need to meet and go through some legal things. And then also we have community health workers that come in and help people navigate the system. So, okay.
Our volunteer hours totaled over 1,400 last year. Volunteers come in and unload the food truck, which comes the first Friday after the 3rd Tuesday of the month. And so we always need help unloading that. Sharing the produce in the summertime. We have people that, actually we'd like to have some volunteers, if anybody's interested, to come and help restock shelves during the week. Our shopping guides that go around and help each person with the food they're getting. And mowing and snow removal. We have some people that sometimes we've paid, sometimes we have some volunteers. But one of our saying we like is, for it is in the giving that you receive. So I just know too, and I know Janet does, I look forward to Food Shelf Day. It just makes you feel good when you're done at the end of the day, even though you're tired.
We don't expect anything, but be prepared to be inspired. You get inspired by the people who come in, people who donate, and even the workers there.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I'm just going to quickly go through this. Finances, you'll see some of the revenues that we get, from individuals, churches, businesses, associations such as Lions Club and that type of thing. Rental income, interest, and grants. And on the other one, you'll see our biggest expense, of course, is food. Staffing is about 9%, utilities about 8%, and insurances and things like that. Okay. And finally, our biggest fundraiser is coming up in March. It's Minnesota Food Share. And this shows you how much we got last year through the Minnesota Food Share. And the idea is to restock food shelves across Minnesota. We also get donations through the Crop Walk. 25% of those go to the food shelf. And then there's many local efforts through the schools, post office, merchants, garden tours, concerts, even Amazon had a fundraising for the food shelf. Okay. Finally, just a big thank you to everybody for supporting the food shelf for all these years. And there's many people to thank. So we'll just open up to questions if anybody has any.
I have a microphone for you.
Are we moving? That's a really good question. We're still in the process of looking at that. There's a bridge project, which is the old UCC church, and there's so many unknowns at this point. I can't answer that yet, but we're certainly thinking about it, but it's certainly not for sure. So Monday night, we have our annual meeting. We're going to spend about an hour before that looking at the space. And we do have plans. An architect, Fen actually has volunteer architects that actually provided us with a plan. So we have a plan and an estimate about how much it would cost. But
And
I don't know.
if we wouldn't use that space, there's other people that are ready to step in and possibly use it.
If anyone has any questions too, we have a microphone just so that we can hear you, and then anyone that's worshiping virtually can hear you as well.
We did well, Janet.
Does it look like individuals were your biggest source of revenue? So if someone wants to donate, how do they do that? Who do they make it to, and where do they send it? Or?
Okay, you can actually do it online if you want. If you go to feedingpelicanrapids.org, you can do it right online. Otherwise, there's an address on the sheets on your table. There's some fundraising or food donations that we suggest. There's also the address to the food shelf if you want to send a check, if you wanted to do something like that. So,
Or stop in on a Tuesday
yes.
when we're there. Yeah, and take these home with you as a guide.
I have a question for Jackie. Who finances the backpack program?
It comes through the food shelf. People can make specific donations to the backpack program through the food shelf, but all the funds come through the food shelf.
We spend about $12,000, a little over that, on the backpack program. About 40% is funded by United Way, and the rest comes from individual donors, and we have some really good donors. Yep, it always, if you designate that it will go to that program.
Okay.
And that designation is you write the check to Pelican Rapids Food Shelf, but in the memo to the backpack program. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep, that would
Perfect.
work.
I have a question too. One of the phrases or words that you used throughout was food insecurity. And I didn't know if you could help just all of us understand what that means and how that applies to our community.
Yep. They say 1 in 15 people across Minnesota are food insecure, and that means that they've maybe felt hunger or they're afraid that they don't have enough money to buy the food that they need. So,
So they're most likely not eating 3 meals a day.
very possibly. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Does anyone else have any other questions? I have another one, but I don't want to skip in front of anybody. One is if you can help us with volunteers. So if we want to volunteer, is there a structured time that we can come, or is there an on-call volunteer piece that we can also participate in?
You know, you could call the food shelf and leave your name and number, and we'd get back to you for one thing. But we always need people for Food Truck Day. And the tricky thing about that is it is the Friday after the third Tuesday. And so it's hard for people to remember when that is.
Okay.
So, but that is 9 o'clock in the morning, and it takes probably about 45 minutes. And it's just taking the food to the food storage. So
So no
that's-
sign-up necessary. If we just
no
come on
sign
down.
up necessary.
Perfect.
That'd be great. If you'd like to take people around shopping, just come on a Tuesday. We'd be happy to plug you in there. I'm thinking that maybe on Mondays I might start having like cleaning and stocking for the food shelf day. That might be a day too. So that might be an opportunity as well. Oh yeah.
Do you get any days off?
That's a great question. You know, we are only open on Tuesdays, and so, but some of us do some shopping and stocking and stuff like that. But that's really Tuesday's our big day at the food shelf, and then that truck day, the Friday, also.
What time do you go home?
We go home. Would you say 1:30? Depends upon how busy it is, but typically people come early and we're done by about 1:30. So that's a really good question.
Janet, you want to tell them about the offering money that our circle, we sponsored one
Yep.
backpack.
Yeah, so the offering money we had for this month's circle was exactly $170, which is about the cost to fund one student for the backpack program. And so we designated that to the food shelf. Good. Okay, thank you very much, you guys.